sometimes we like to complain, especially about being entrapped within a meat suit, right? As we so affectionately call it sometimes. And then we complain that the body's not working correctly, and the body is tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of being stuck. It has a sore throat, you know. So there's lots of complaining to be had, and also, you know, think back to when you acquiesced to I wanna be in a body, yeah, woohoo! But you can't do woohoo because you're not in a body yet. So pre-body, you know, can you remember saying I want to be there? I would like to embody this spirit. Do you remember that? Probably not, right? You don't remember. And then once you get in the body, then everyone and their mother comes around with their paddle, and they say, "Hey, do this." Smack. You don't listen to them. Well, you get a smack on the bottom. And then if Mr. Law comes around and says, "Hey, do this," and you don't listen, then you get a bigger smack. And then maybe you get smacked into a cage. You know, these things are possible here. So we complain about that too, and it's like, why am I in a body, and how come everyone's trying to make me do things? Why? Why am I in a body, and why is everyone trying to make me do things? That's a sort of a question that might arise within you. Or perhaps, why am I in a body, and how come nobody understands each other? Why am I in a body, and all the other bodies are allowing our own thing that we live on to be raped and pillaged and destroyed in the name of God knows what? Why are we raping and pillaging and destroying? So all these questions can arise as well. And still, it's like, why am I in a body? What is this thing? Like, why? Why? Why is everyone looking like robots around me? How come they all do the same exact thing every single day? Why do people think money is something other than a representation of energy exchange? You might have these kind of questions. And then you might bring those questions up to somebody around you, and they're like, maybe you get more of a response than that, but you know, it's a complicated situation. And you might find answers on the interweb, but you will also estrange and isolate yourself out from those in your clan that have heard of the words conspiracy theory, and they've also heard of flat earth, and they know exactly what that's about. You know, flat earth is just another like catchphrase that you hear on the way to the loony bin. You know, if you've been talking about these such things too often. Loony bin time. So it's not necessarily a simple situation. It's a complicated one. And then this term NPCs, such an innocent thing, you know, it's just a one word. It's not even a word, it's an acronym. And it's talking about game theory. It's not even being that serious about it. But it's something that people very much identify with, and it gets people talking. It's also controversial at the same time. But generally, things that get people talking and are controversial are good for the populace. It's a good thing. I was having a discussion with Papo, with my father last night about force and what is its place within a group of humans. And I was attempting to argue that if you wish somebody to do something and they say no, and then you ask politely again and they say no, and you decide maybe, okay, well, they're not just doing it, so maybe I'll just gently do a pushy push with the hand, and then they resist. They're like, no, thank you. And you're like, well, all right, here's, I got a huge ass stick. Bam! There. They did what I wanted them to. I was trying to argue that that form of enforcement is incorrect, and he was taking the role of defending the system that ends up, instead of like dancing with this sort of a very interactive back and forth reflexive play between individuals, you have humans playing they're role playing, and they're, you know, wearing stars and things, and they have billy clubs and guns, and that's of course the more overt representation of force, but it exists in all relationships, and it's always bad. It's not ever a good thing. Whenever one human tries to force another human to do things, you can think back on your own life, like, has that ever been good overall? If a parent wants a child to do something and the child says no, and the parent uses this force and fear, or a stick, like I'm gonna smack your butt, whatever type of force, without actually like getting in there in the child's experience and interacting with them and exploring with them whether this choice that you wish the child to take is a good one or not. With the child, you're exploring with them and showing them kind of the alternatives in whatever way you know how. That's what creativity is, as opposed to, kid, do this thing. No. Kid says, no. I have a stick. Do this thing. You know? That was my argument last night, and he wasn't really taking it, but there's nothing I can do about that because I can't force him. You know, like, the thing is inside. It's always, the infinite regress exists in all arguments. And I already know there's not ever a winner, so there's not like an impetus for me to press the issue. It's fine. But within all of this force and not force, and people playing a billion different games, and lawmakers making up all kinds of irrelevant laws, and debt systems going off into eternity and never, all of this nonsense that we play, there's at the same time, you as the individual, you are free to do what you do. Even within the forcing systems, you're absolutely free to do what you feel compelled to do. If you wish to force something on somebody else when they're not listening to you, you get mad. And you're like, all right, well, you're not listening, I'm going to smack you in the face. I'll punch you in the face. And you don't just say you're going to punch them in the face. You don't say anything. You just simply punch them in the face. And then they probably, maybe they don't listen to you, but maybe they dislike you now since you did that. But they're not at least doing the exact thing that you didn't want them to do before. So maybe you had a slight effect. You are free to punch that person in the face, and they're free to react however they wish, or not even however they wish, whatever is natural to them. And that's the true freedom of existence, is that with all the pretense of force, it's still all make-believe bullshit, and you don't have to do anything ever.